and Jalen's 33-day recap, the third Birdmester.
Welcome to the third Birdmester. I'm Bill Simmons, that's Jalen Rose. Every 33 days throughout the NBA season, give or take a couple days, we check in with the NBA season. We've blown out these in the past. This one's going to be a nice short one. Jalen, why do we call it the Birdmester?
Number one, if you don't like Larry, then we don't like you. Just period. Okay, he's a diehard Boston Celtics fan, East Coaster at heart, sports guy 33, Grantland 33, you get the picture. And Larry was my flat-out coach.
Right.
Literally, he validated me in the NBA space. Thank you, Larry, for turning me on to tempura lobster.
We love the legend, and that's why we call it the Birdmester. Anyway, we are heading into the All-Star break next couple days, and we are going to be in New Orleans coaching the celebrity game.
Mm-hmm.
Anything jumping out to you right now since the last time we did this? For me, I feel like three contenders right now: Indiana, Oklahoma City, Miami. I'd put San Antonio in as the fourth, assuming they're going to be healthy. Who knows? After that, I don't feel like anybody is a genuine contender. Do you think there is another genuine contender?
Another genuine contender, no. I give an asterisk to the Clippers.
Okay.
Because beyond Blake Griffin, let me tell you some of the guys that have played minutes at power forward. Matt Barnes, Jared Dudley, Steven Jackson, Hedo Turkoglu.
Steven Jackson, who is probably 35 pounds heavier than he was the last time we...
So they're clearly looking for somebody to play minutes at that spot, and they have a lot of perimeter players, that have a lot of value, so maybe they look to do something there. But the thing that has jumped out at me to answer your original question is that we know LeBron James is the best player in the world, but Kevin Durant is going to win MVP this year.
Yeah, that's been the biggest thing. We'll get back to the Clippers in a second. The biggest thing that's changed since the last time we did this, Durant, remember initially in the beginning of the year we were saying, this is stupid, LeBron's the MVP every year. Save that conversation for the 24/7, afternoon TV shows, all that stuff. Then Durant started coming on a little bit. It's like, well, all right, this is at least becoming somewhat interesting. Then he pulled up even. Then he passed LeBron. And in January, 36 points a game, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 50, 40, 90. Went head-to-head against LeBron Super Bowl week, outplayed him, won the game in Miami, and he is the MVP. Not only that, you could make a case he's the best player in the league right now. I'm not ready to make it.
And also,
you can make a case.
But that's how it's supposed to be, competitive. We all knew that those are the two best players in the world. So LeBron James goes to the finals 3 straight years, plays a lot of basketball, wins 2 championships. Of course, he's not going to have the same sting every night as the player that's watching LeBron and won everything that he has.
Right.
He has multiple 30-point games this year, leading the league in scoring. Russell Westbrook has been out, so he's had to do more. Kevin Durant is 25 years old.
Right.
Having triple-doubles and really playing at an elite level.
And he's just gone another level from a confidence, just looks angry. The weapons that he has, he's figured out how to use everything. I said this on the show, I'm going to say it again. I watched a lot of him in college because the Celtics had a possible top 3 pick that year, who knew? And when you watch Durant, the thing I loved about him was the potential of what he could become, right? Where it was, you'd watch and be like, oh, so this guy could be a 6'10", T-Mac crossed with George Gervin, but with Larry Bird's range, and you can see all these pieces. You never knew if he'd get there. This is the season that he got there. And it's like that image you had in your head in 2007 where it's like, man, imagine if you did put all of these things together into one package, and then he did it.
The 2 things that unlock his game besides his work ethic and, as you mentioned, that killer instinct, that he can handle the basketball.
Right.
He can get from point A to point B. He can play in pick and rolls. He could do walk-up threes. And the way he's built, and people criticized him for coming out at the draft saying he wasn't going to be strong enough. Normally, that guy isn't strong enough to finish through contact.
Right.
He not only is able to do that, but he'll dunk on you. And now he's made the guys around him better. No Russell Westbrook. We see Reggie Jackson playing good minutes.
It's not a great supporting cast. Ibaka's the best player, but other than that, it's role players.
Correct. And Ibaka's been terrific. Nobody talks about him. He should be an all-star this year. Let's reward winning, leading the league in blocks. He's been terrific all year.
Best third banana right now?
Yes.
Kawhi Leonard better than him. Bosh.
I take Bosh as the best and then Ibaka second.
I think Ibaka's having a better season, though.
He's been that good.
Right.
On the defensive end, he's making threes now, mid-range jump shots, and he never gets any love.
I'll tell you, I was trying to think like, all right, what pushed Durant to this point where he just clearly, you'd see it. He just wants it.
He's tired of being second fiddle.
Tired of being second fiddle. I think that's one thing. I think the Harden trade was a big part of this. The fact that, they're kind of perpetually going to be very good, but maybe not great because they pulled Harden away. Who knows if Lamb can get there and Adams to help them. Westbrook getting hurt last year, you put a little urgency. You start thinking about it like, well, man, if we don't make it this year, when in the 2012 finals, you felt like this team's going to be here every year. This is it. Rest of the decade, Oklahoma State in the finals. They trade Harden. Westbrook gets hurt. Westbrook gets hurt again. And I really feel like there's a little urgency with him now. Where he's just tired of being in second. He's tired of all these other factors complicating the thing. Now he's just like, screw it. I'm going out. I'm going to win this.
And also, the West has been in flux. San Antonio's had to deal with injuries to Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green, and they're going to rest Tim Duncan, and Tony Parker's had his injuries. The Clippers had to deal with injuries to Chris Paul.
Right.
We talked about them being a contender. And then those are the other teams who I think have played well but are a piece away, like Houston, like Portland, like Golden State.
Is Portland a piece away, though?
No, they're just a young team that I think has exceeded expectation, but if they get the wrong matchup in the first round, it could be a dogfight.
Well, we're going to get to that in a second, but I'm looking at Oklahoma City here. As we're taping this on a Sunday afternoon, they're 41-12. They get a 2-game lead over San Antonio in the loss column. Headed for the 1 seed. Westbrook's coming back after the All-Star break. They're going to get the 1 seed. My question is, this is a team that, they're always thinking end game, a little bit like Belichick and the Patriots, where they don't go for it this year. They're always thinking, like, we're going to keep building assets. That was a big reason why they made the Harden trade, although I still think they cheaped out with that trade in a lot of ways. But assets, picks, young guys, develop from within, don't amnesty Kendrick Perkins, things like that. But now they're close. They could win the West with what they have. They're going to be favored. They can maybe win the title with what they have. But they could also clinch this with one more trade. They could trade Jeremy Lamb, the Perkins contract, and a number 1 pick right now to Orlando and get Aaron Aflalo.
Now, you throw that number 1 pick in there, that is more reason for Orlando to do it.
They'd have to think about it.
Without the number 1 pick, no deal.
Right. But they could do a trade like that. They could go after somebody like Thaddeus Young. Maybe they even go after getting Jeff Green back. I still think they need one more player. But the point is, they could finish this. They're the favorites right now, but they could be the prohibitive favorites. And I got to be honest, like, the whole point of playing basketball is to win the title. When you're close, you go for it. Like the Celtics went and they got Bill Walton in the mid-'80s. The Lakers went and they got Michael Thompson. Chicago went, got out and they went and got Rodman. Like,
the Pistons traded Mark Aguirre and got Adrian Dantley.
Well, no, the opposite.
I mean,
they traded
Adrian
Dantley for Mark Aguirre.
Yep.
But like when you're close, you got to make a move. Detroit, 2004. They got Rasheed Wallace. They gave up a couple picks in that trade.
Boston getting KG.
Boston got KG. They got James Posey and P.J. Brown, Eddie House. Like, do you think Oklahoma City should just say, screw it? Maybe you sacrifice 2 first-rounders. Maybe you sacrifice Jeremy Lamb. Maybe you sacrifice Steven Adams. Should they sacrifice the future to try to guarantee a title this year?
I don't think that's who Sam Presti is.
I don't think so either.
I think the reason why they've had sustained excellence in who they draft, James Harden, Jeff Green, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, Serge Ibaka, is because he sticks to the formula we just described.
Right.
And also, he believes in their development so much that I could take a piece like Harden away, and I know KD at 25 is still going to grow into his game. I know Russell Westbrook.
Unfair pressure on him though, and Westbrook. And Westbrook, you already got hurt,
But also you can't just, when you're a small market team, you can't put all of your chips in the middle of the table. One of the guys get injured. You just gave up your first-round pick. You may lose these guys to free agency soon in the next couple of years.
Well, now there's an expiration date potentially.
Yes. So
I Westbrook both.
When you have not only 2 of the top, say, 6 players, plus they're very young, you got to bet on their upside, and I think that's what he's going to do.
On the other hand, you could say, let's say they don't win this year. Now next year, now you're getting closer to that expiration date where Durant and Westbrook can leave. It's a tough one. I just know what I know, and I think if they added one more piece, they have the best team.
And been a person that's talked a lot about moving parts and what's going to happen with Russell and what's going to happen with KD. The more I thought about it, I hope they stay in OKC. I hope the piece that you're talking about, a big name piece, whether it's a Kevin Love, for example, or Aaron Afalo, another perimeter type piece.
Kevin Love.
I hope they get one of those type of players to come play with them.
I will say,
stay.
you mentioned the small market thing. I think the small market stuff's becoming more and more irrelevant because this league, the next media deal they're going to make is going to be for a staggering amount of money, much more than they have now. The cap's going to go up. Everybody's going to have more money to spend. They could go in the luxury tax for 1 year and probably still make money. You know, they're never going to make a ton of money from their arena, but this isn't like trying to make it in New Jersey in 2003.
Right.
I don't think it's the same situation. I think they owe it to Durant and Westbrook to try to make one more thing because I got to be honest, like, you know, Jeremy Lamb, who I think has potential. There's no question. He's a great shooter when he's wide open. He's athletic.
Like most pros should be.
Right. But the Oklahoma City fans will email me like things about like, you see Jeremy Lamb 5 3-pointers? It's like he's wide open on every shot. You look at what happened with James Harden's field goal percentage when he went to Houston and went from 50% to like 44. Like it's when you play with great players, you get good shots.
And there is, and to your point, there has been a distinction though. OKC has distinguished themselves with KD's leadership as the best team in the West.
Right.
And you only said that they're 2 games ahead of San Antonio.
Right.
They just keep coming.
Right.
They're like Jason Voorhees.
The infrastructure. Talk about infrastructure.
Yes. And
they miss guy. Kawhi's out for a month. Danny Green's out for a month. Parker gets banged up. Manu's out. Doesn't matter.
For fans out there, we just talked about the top teams. San Antonio, Indiana, OKC are small markets.
Yep.
Look at how they draft. Look at how they develop. That's why they've had consistent, sustained periods where they play great basketball, and I think it's going to continue as long as they have young talent.
Well, I'll tell you one thing about Miami that I haven't heard a lot of people bring up, and I think the Durant game was a good example. A couple years ago, they had Shane Battier, who they could have guard LeBron for big stretches in the finals.
KD. Guard KD.
Sorry, guard KD. This time around, LeBron had to guard him the entire time. I don't think Battier can guard him anymore. And if they ran into Oklahoma City in a series, now, you think of all the stuff LeBron's had to do for the last 4 years. Now, on top of that, he's going to have to guard Kevin Durant for 7 games. And if he can't do it, who else on that team could guard Durant? Literally, name anybody. It's not going to be Shane Battier at this point. It's not going to be Dwayne Wade. Who's left?
It's a life issue that I relate to sports. When the end game becomes more important than the journey, that puts you in a tough position. And that's where the Heat are. They want to win a championship. They want to win their third. But at the same time, Shane Battier, Ray Allen, Udonis Haslem, these are older players.
Older.
During the 82-game schedule, it's going to be nice where they just don't have it. Go ahead, LeBron. It's all yours. D-Wade resting his knees. And when you're doing that, you're putting so much pressure on LeBron. That's why his defensive statistics in blocks and in steals have taken back just a little bit because he has to guard 5 people. I was watching the Clipper game. He guarded DeAndre Jordan.
Blake Griffin.
He guarded Collison.
Yeah.
He need to put fatigued on the back of his jersey.
Well, it's funny. They're so concerned about Wade, making sure Wade's there in May and June. They might have to start worrying about making sure LeBron is there. I don't think they do a good enough job of protecting him. And
they can't. They don't have anyone to do it. It was a patchwork.
Listen, right now they're the 2nd seed. They're 35-14 as we're taping this. Toronto is the 3rd seed at 26-24. I would throw away going for the 1 seed. I would give LeBron a ton of rest. Just make sure you get the 2 seed. Rest everybody. I went to that Clipper game on Wednesday. You know, he's doing everything as usual. Maybe it was a little bit of an audition because people think he might land with the Clippers next year potentially.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
Well, hold on. Let me finish my point and then we'll get into it. But I was shocked by Wade. Like seeing him in person. Jamal Crawford guarding him. He's not going by him. He's basically just shooting jump shots, kind of picking his spots. But unless he is just totally saving himself for 8 weeks, I feel like he's at a different stage of his career.
There are 4 puppeteers in NBA lore that basically have around 42 championships. Red has 16, right?
Yep.
Arbite. Pat Riley, player, coach, assistant, whatnot, has 10. Phil Jackson has 12.
I'll be interested to see if you got all these numbers right.
Pop has 4.
Yep.
Okay. Why would you leave Miami, where you have Mickey Arison, stable owner, championship level owner, and Pat Riley, to go to an unknown, any other team, when you're the best player in the world?
Well, that's the thing. If you're the best player in the world, should you be chasing other great teams? Should people be coming to play with you?
Correct.
The problem is if Bosh and Wade re-up their contracts, they won't have the contract space to get anybody.
I'm glad you brought that
He's
up.
stuck with those two guys.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Oh, are you going to drop some knowledge right now?
That's why you trust one of those gentlemen that I mentioned, because you know that they're going to find a way to work it out.
Well, how long do we think Pat Riley's going to be there?
He'll be there as long as LeBron is there.
You think
Absolutely.
Getting them rings.
Exactly. Just like Pop said, as long as Tim's playing,
Right.
I'm coaching. You tie yourself to that player. So many great players in the NBA. When Shaq won his championships, he won it with Phil Jackson coaching. He won it with Pat Riley coaching. Dwayne Wade won his championships, Pat Riley coaching, Pat Riley in the front office. LeBron leaves Cleveland to go get under Pat Riley's thumb. It's not that hard. And South Beach is beautiful. And you see LeBron just got married. His sons are growing up. They're into sports now.
He's got long Samsung commercials.
Yes, I think that he's just set up his anchor to be in South Beach.
Maybe. Or he might be thinking about, I want to do some other stuff, and it'd be easier to do that stuff in L.A.
And one last thing. LeBron James, unlike me, he actually cares what people think. And he has a conscience. He made everybody mad at him when he left Cleveland.
Right.
I know the decision was ill-timed. But imagine...
Ill-timed. That's the nicest thing anyone ever said about it.
Imagine if he left Miami. What that backlash would be like.
He couldn't leave if they won the title. Nobody's ever done that. But if they lost, it'd be interesting. The one wrinkle that's just different than it was in September, Cleveland was a possibility for him. And the amount of dysfunction they have, Kyrie Irving took 19 steps backwards. It became clear that they've missed on some of these picks. And they're poorly run. They just fired their GM. They got 4 more years of Mike Brown, who somehow got hired 3 times as a head coach.
Keep getting them checks.
Keep getting them checks. But there's no way LeBron goes back there. 0% chance.
Why are you chasing after any team or any ring? You have South Beach, you have Pat Riley, and you have 2 championships that you've already won, plus you're the best player along with KD in the league.
Right.
You're not going to win it every year. I know everybody thinks somebody's going to come along and be Bill Russell and win 11 championships in 13 years. That ain't happening no more.
Who do you have in a Miami-Indiana series right now? Let's assume
Indiana
Game 7's
Pacers.
in Indiana.
I will not hesitate.
Not hesitate. Paul George has stepped back last 6 weeks offensively.
But you got to look at it like
Big
this.
step back.
They don't beat you with their offense, though. They beat you with their defense.
Roy Hibbert's shooting like 40% since the new year or something.
Miami just lost a game to Utah.
That's true.
They lost a game to the Pistons.
Utah played well in that game, though.
But you know why? Teams that play 2 bigs.
Right.
Miami likes to play small.
We saw that with the Clippers with DeAndre and Blake got like 30 rebounds combined.
They were dunking every time down. So that's why you go get another big like Bynum. You try to pound Miami inside. Force them to play Beasley at 4. Force them to play Oden. Force them to play Haslam. So when that happens, that takes another shooter off the floor, and it also cuts down driving lanes for Wade and LeBron.
Who plays more minutes for Indiana in the playoffs this year, Bynum or Igloo Magic?
How about this? Who plays more minutes, Oden or Bynum?
Now, so I went to Clippers Heat, which was a fantastic fan experience on Wednesday night. Blake was incredible. And Oden played for 5 minutes in the second quarter and looked really good and was moving, and then they didn't put him back. But it was so fascinating to watch LeBron play with a real center who was kind of lurking and blocking shots and trying to get follow-up rebounds. And it did make me wonder if he could be heard from in the playoffs. I never thought I would say that.
I watched Greg Golden a lot, obviously, in college. He went to Ohio State. I actually worked out with him the year he was about to be a rookie when he played with Portland. And when he's feeling good about his game, and when you watch as a fan, he dunks on the way up.
Yeah.
And he did that a couple of times that game to let you know his legs are lively. But they have to save him from himself.
Right.
I mean, he's had a lot of injuries over the past handful of years. I actually think if I had to say who's going to play more minutes between he and Bynum, I'd say Oden.
The energy he gives Miami when he does well, they want so badly for him to do well.
They need
So in that Clipper game, he accidentally cheap shot at Blake on a dunk. He knocked Blake down. Blake could have gotten hurt. If it was anyone else in the league, the Clipper fans would have been furious. But it was Odin. Like, everyone wants Odin to come back. And then here's another thing. If it was Miami, Oklahoma City, we could be at Odin Durant finals.
All I know is
How about that?
With all love and respect, if you put a picture of Odin next to Bill Russell right now, they look just alike.
You think they switch bodies?
Yes.
So you have Indiana over Miami. I still think I can't go against LeBron. I know all logic says Indiana. But in a series, unless Paul George can get back to where he was in November and December offensively, it still comes down to who has the best player on the floor. It'd be really hard for a team to beat the best player.
You're underestimating Lance.
Am I, though?
League in triple doubles.
I'm going to flip that. Lance, great in the regular season, revelation. I thought I should have made the All-Star team. We get to the playoffs, big stage, 10 million people watching, Miami series. Everybody talk about how Lance is the X factor. He's never had that kind of pressure before offensively. Do you trust Lance? Do you trust Lance in a huge game?
Lance was in.
I'm not saying he can't do it. I need to see it.
Lance was in 8th grade going against a guy in high school named Homicide in the park and didn't back down.
Right.
He's not scared of anything.
I'm not saying he's scared. See, I think the opposite would be the problem. Not only am I not scared, let's run this play for me. No, I got this. Everybody get out of the way. That's what I would be worried about, Lance.
And Hibbert's going to have his games where he gets 18 plus. You can also throw Bynum in the mix. Wes has been terrific. We talked about Paul George.
We have plenty of time to talk about that.
And also, we can't just gloss over this. Paul George has become one of the top 5 players in the whole league, and he's a two-way player.
Right.
And that's the thing that I think is going to get him over top. And he's clutch.
I'm glad you brought this up because we did the show today, and I was talking about how much it bothers me that nobody ever mentions how bad Stephen Curry is on defense, how bad Damian Lillard is on defense. Damian Lillard is atrocious on defense. Kyrie Irving's another one. Fans judge players by their stats they're putting up, what they're doing offensively, what makes a YouTube clip. And it's like we've just disregarded the other end of the floor. Lillard, teams go out of their way to attack him. George Hill had 37 on him the other night.
I got something that you're going to love.
Yeah.
We figured you guys out, the fans and you metrics guys.
Right.
You want to judge me by my numbers? I'm putting up numbers.
Right. Yeah, nobody's judging me by how many stops I got. But we both think Portland's had a great season.
Yep. I
do worry in a 7-game series where you could just do the same things over and over again. I think they're vulnerable. Because you watch the way smart teams attack them. They go after Lillard all the time. Their Portland bench still isn't where it needs to be. Defensively, they're not great. I worry about that team because I want that. I'd love to see them in the Western Finals or even the Finals.
Portland is ahead of the curve. They're doing a terrific job this year.
Right.
But they have a small backcourt. When you go
really small, and then they bring Mo Williams.
Lillard, Mo Williams, C.J. McCollum,
right,
and C.J. Watson.
Yeah.
They're all small guards, and they like to play Lillard off the ball every now and then.
Right.
So that's why George Hill could go for 37.
Yep.
Ricky Rubio scored 25 against them.
He did score 25 last month. So Portland, we think, has some flaws. The Clippers, I watch them all the time. They need to flip somebody into the rebounder guy, insurance for Blake and DeAndre, guy who can come in and swing the game for 5 minutes. They're so predictable. And that's what I worry about. I guess the one thing that you could say about them is Blake went up another level the last 5 weeks.
He has.
And I think it's now Blake, then Aldridge, then Kevin Love for that power forward spot right now.
I agree, because you have to reward winning, number one, and how he's getting it done. He's still giving you the rebounds. He's still finishing over the top, doing terrific dunks, but he's rim running better. He's taking advantage of his matchups. Before, when Blake used to get the ball, he didn't really process who was guarding him.
Right.
Now he understands, okay, I'm going to back this guy in until they stop me. I'm going to shoot a jump hook over my shoulder. And also, I got a slower guy on me. I'm going to face up, and I'm not going to wait for the double team. I'm going to just do a quick swing through move. And now that he's able to do that, along with the development of DeAndre, who's found ways that they do a good job of doing 4 or 5 passes over the top, lobs to each other, they become a real good dynamic duo.
I agree. And DeAndre was 8 rebounds a game last year. He's like 14 this year. The one thing I noticed with Blake, when he's closer to the rim, that's when things happen for him. He's such a good offensive rebounder. He's so quick around the basket. And when Chris Paul was in there, a lot of times he's running picks for him and he's 20 feet away from the basket. He can't do that stuff. When he played Miami last week, he was just around the rim the whole game. That was one of the reasons he did so well. I love the way he's playing, and I really think he's flipped the narrative a little bit. I think a lot of the abuse that he took for the commercials, guys cheap shotting him in games, sometimes criticism's good. It makes you kind of reevaluate stuff. Look at Rudy Gay in Sacramento. He's been great since he went there.
And the whole thing with Blake in this commercial, that's just a competitive jealousy. What fans underestimate and media types underestimate is when you see one guy on the commercial getting all the accolades, holding the trophies, there are 449 other guys like, I want that.
Right.
Can I eat? Can I run?
He had 4 commercials. Yeah.
I'm trying to get involved.
I shouldn't have said Rudy Gay was great. He's been a lot better.
He's been a lot better.
I don't want to be on the record. Rudy Gay was great. Golden State, something's funky with them, and I that's a whole other discussion. I can't put my finger on it.
I know what it is. The thing they have
Coaching?
they have to figure out the Harrison Barnes dynamic.
We said that before the season.
That's the whole thing
Remember
they have to figure out.
Can he come off the bench? Are they better small ball or big ball? Like David Lee's putting up stats. He's valuable, obviously. I don't know if that's their best lineup when it's him and a center together.
But it's hard to take David Lee out because he averages 20 and 10. And sometimes Harrison does those ferocious dunks like you've seen against Denver when he's playing 4 or early in the year when Iguodala was out and he have a big game.
Yep.
Then all of a sudden you look down at the box score, he's in single digits.
They have Curry, Klay Thompson, and David Lee are both below average defensive players. All 3 below average defensive players. That's not helping them. But, I still don't know who their best 5 is. They have 6 players that could arguably play in crunch time, and I don't think they know who their 5 is. At some point, you got to figure it out by April.
And that's the same thing. So it's Golden State, and I'm going to bring another team into this conversation who I think is in that same mode. Houston.
Yep.
They've had issue at point guard. Lynn has been okay, but not great.
Beverly's been better.
Beverly's a better defensive player, but he really doesn't get you to offense just yet.
Makes more threes.
Terrence Jones has played some big games.
Coming on.
And then he's had some single-digit games. Whatever happened to Ashik? He's just decided he's not going to play, until they trade him.
He's got what just happened with Carlos Boozer. Yeah.
My calf. Y'all playing Taj Gibson all of the minutes in the fourth quarter? Y'all going to do that to me?
When you're unhappy, all of a sudden things start hurting a lot more.
Well, you come up, but you have to be a vet about it. You have to come up with an injury that you truly can't detect.
Yeah.
Nobody can tell me how much my calf hurts.
Yeah.
No MRI, no stem, nothing.
Or your back is another good one. I slept on last night.
So
Houston's interesting because, I don't think Harden's even been as good this year as he was last year. And maybe he's still feeling out the Howard thing. Parsons is in a pseudo contract here. He's been good, not great. But there's a weird ceiling on that team where when it's going on all cylinders for them, they look devastating. And in a series, you know where I'm going with this.
I do.
Houston and Golden State are the same way for me in a series. Harden has the one game where he scores 47. They win that one. They had the game where Chandler Parsons hits 9 threes. They win that one.
Dwight 20 and 20.
They had the Dwight 25 rebounds, 27 points. They win that one. All of a sudden you're like, how are we losing this series? And it's like, but they have guys that could just swing games.
And that goes to what I said earlier. Their end game has become more important than the journey. We have dumbed down their regular season so much that we don't really care what Harden and Dwight do in the regular season.
Right.
We want to see what they're going to do in the playoffs.
Now, with that said, that's probably the team I'd want to play in round 1 if I was a 6, 7, or 8 seed, right? Would you rather play them or would you rather play San Antonio?
I would rather play San Antonio.
Because
of just what you just said.
Oh, the fear of the game by game, I don't know what's going to happen thing?
And I think they kind of plateaued the opportunities that they were giving Kawhi Leonard. After we watched him in the finals last year and the way he competed against LeBron, I felt
We
like
thought he was making the leap.
I thought it was going to be a breakout year, but now they kind of sharing his minutes. They had games where they brought him off the bench. So
I have a theory on that. Do you think it's because in the finals he was playing the 4 and they were going undersized with him? And maybe when you play him at the 3 and he's a conventional small forward with next to 2 big guys, he's not as effective?
He was already balling at the 3 all season.
Not like he did in the finals.
Right. Like
in the finals, he was 12 rebounds a game.
That's like Harrison Barnes.
Exactly. Or like Carmelo, when Carmelo plays the 4. I wonder, like, and you can't do that against every team, but I do wonder if that's one of the reasons we thought Kawhi was making the leap in that finals. Maybe he just likes playing the 4.
But they're still the Spurs. They still have Tony Parker. They still have Manu Ginobili.
I know that Houston's owned them this season, but I know I'm going to go on TV. I'm going to be like, I'll tell you what, the Rockets are going to beat the Spurs, and then the Spurs will win in 5. And
all I know is
I did it again.
We're in Memphis, eating Gus's, hanging out on Beale Street, looking at the teams on paper, thinking Memphis has a chance to do this.
Yeah, they can come back. They got swept. Golden State, by the way, is another team that you can have the Curry game where he gets hot, he scores 45. The random Klay Thompson 9 3-pointer game, the random Harrison Barnes off the bench game. And this is why I think
And David Lee plays good every game.
This is why I think anybody who says they know what's going to happen in the playoffs this year is talking out of their butt. Because even the Clippers. Jamal could get hot in a game by himself. He wins a game. Blake has a game like he had Wednesday night. They win. I think the coaching is going to play a factor.
And Chris Paul is the 3rd best player in the league.
When he's healthy.
So you know he could get going.
I worry about McHale and I worry about Mark Jackson. I think their coaching, I just need to see it. Because I thought Mark Jackson made a lot of mistakes in that Spurs series last year. I don't love the way McHale, it kills me to say this, I love McHale. He's my dude. 3 titles with him. Gave us the title in 2008 when he traded KG to us. Not totally. You watch that team sometimes and it almost looks like they don't practice or have plays, right? Just seems like he rolls the ball out.
I'm going to tell you what dynamic both of those teams have that are in common. You just mentioned how both of them have short rotations. Mm-hmm. When you have a short rotation, there's only so many plays you can run.
Right.
Because it's for the same guys. So only so many minutes they can practice.
Yep.
Because you need them for the game. And as you just said, since they can't take over a game during a series, it becomes all about getting a good seed, getting to the playoffs, take a deep breath. Oh, Golden State is playing Portland? Well, we got experience from last year. We can knock them off. We know that they're a 3rd seed, we're a 6th seed. Houston, they'll be confident going against a team like that.
So for the 8 seed, or 7 and 8 seed, 2 teams can make it here. Actually, Phoenix, 20 losses right now. Golden State, 21. Dallas, 21. Memphis, 22.
I just got to say one name.
2 teams.
I got to say one name.
Yeah.
Goran Dragic has been terrific this year. He should have been an all-star. He should have been an all-star.
Yeah, that was too bad.
Like the last 10 games, he's averaging like 26 points, 5 and 5 on 60% shooting.
Him over
He's balling.
He should have made it over Damian Lillard. All due respect to Damian Lillard, but...
And speaking of Damian Lillard, who I love, Dame is his nickname, from the Bay Area. We played 93 until beat for him when we did his highlight on our show today. One guy can't be doing 5 events at All-Star Week.
We disagree on that.
No, that can't happen.
He's going to do 5 dunks. He's going to shoot 2 minutes of 3-pointers. He's going to do the stupid drill. He's going to be dribbling around flags. It's not like he's running a triathlon.
But you forget about the competitive part. He's dribbling around flags, but that's a competition that he's trying to go hard. He's concentrating. He's actually trying to win. The dunk contest, he's still putting shocks on his legs, jumping up and down, trying to win the game.
What you should have said that I would have agreed with is that he should be doing this because he's competitive, not because, as he said publicly, this is good for my brand.
How about
I don't care about your brand, Damian Lillard.
How
Nobody
about
does.
give somebody else an opportunity to enter in one of those contests?
That's interesting.
There are a lot of other productive players around the league that could have used the opportunity to get in the dunk contest. I don't see Damian Lillard as a dunker. He's going against Paul George, Terrence Jones, and my guy, John Wall. The East team is going to win.
John Wall's your guy now?
Yes, John Wall and Boogie have always been my guys.
I forgot. So pick 2 out of those teams, Phoenix, Golden State, Dallas, and Memphis. Who makes it?
Golden State, Memphis, the teams that were in last year.
I think Golden State and Phoenix, because I think Phoenix makes a trade, and I think they go for it.
They go for Gasol, maybe?
I think they might even go...
Rudy Gay?
I think it's going to be Philly for a Thaddeus Young and/or Spencer Hawes.
2 players that we really like that I'm trying to figure out why team, and Evan Turner too. They have 3 pieces.
I love Thad Young.
They have 3 pieces. I'm going to put Aaron Afalo into this.
Yeah.
That's 4 players that I think could be game-changing players if they get to the right team.
I'll give you a couple more. Jeff Green, I think, could help the right team.
You're such a Celtic.
No. I just think if he's your eighth mate.
No, you're just trying to make the Celtics worse so they can tank and have the worst record and be sorry for Jabari. I know you.
Eighth man. Is he better than PJ Tucker? I'll give you another one. You'll like this, going down to your old Motown. I think Rodney Stuckey could really help a team.
He can.
I think he could be Ben Gordon 2009 off the bench for somebody.
Rodney Stuckey.
He could come in and ball and get a game-winning shot.
This is the best compliment I could give Rodney Stuckey, and he does look like 50 Cent. That he's 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah.
And I was watching the game, because Pistons are my team, obviously, and he was guarding Chandler Parsons and vice versa. Chandler Parsons is 6'9". Stuckey was posting him up.
Right.
Literally. Like, give me the ball. Like, this guy can't stop me.
We need Rodney Stuckey in the playoffs. That's a guy like a team, I think he makes $8 million expiring contract. The right kind of contender if they could figure out how to get him. And there's a couple Denver guys, Randy Foye, people like that. There's some fringe guys to get. The thing that isn't out there right now are the rebounder guys. Like, if you look around the league, okay, how would the Clippers parlay X, Y, and Z into one more rebounder? That guy's not really out there. You're looking at people like Brandon Bass.
I'm going to tell you what's not out there for all of you hoop heads that constantly use this term because we as media types help make it famous. It's called a stretch four. There's not any out there anymore.
You might have to come back.
Ryan Anderson is the only one.
You might be a stretch four.
Playing guys at 3, playing guys that are really 3s at 4, that don't work. Ryan Anderson is the quality stretch 4. Other than that, it's conventional lineups again.
Who do you like as the 3 seed? Toronto, Atlanta, Washington, Chicago, or Brooklyn? They're all separated by 2 losses right now.
Toronto, Atlanta, Washington, and Brooklyn. I'm going Washington.
Washington.
I think they're a younger team, which means...
I like their team the most.
Yeah. When you talk about the regular season, never underestimate youth. So they got Bradley Beal and John Wall. Those guys are going to play every game as long as they're not hurt. They want to get up and down the floor.
Also, Wall is competitive. Like, to me, it's like the difference between Wall and Kyrie Irving is that Wall game to game seems more of a leader, more you can just kind of feel it coming out of the TV even when you're home. Whereas Kyrie Irving, I always feel like he's just out there. He's got some teammates. He's going to do his thing. It's not up to him to make anybody better. I would much rather play with John Wall. Is that fair?
Yeah, John Wall, he's what I affectionately call a dog.
Yes.
That's what I like about him, and that's what I liked about Boogie.
Right.
I like a guy that says, hey, Isaiah Thomas, don't go shake Chris Paul's hand.
Right.
We're not doing that over here.
Here's another example. Kyle Lowry.
He's a dog.
Everyone's like, oh, he's a jerk. Coaches don't like him. All I know is every time I watch him, it looks like he wants to fight people to win the game. And I like Kyle Lowry.
And something we couldn't have said in the first 2 Birdmesters, how about this? The Toronto Raptors have had the 3 most productive perimeter players in the league over the past few weeks. Terrence Ross had a 50-point game.
Right.
DeMar DeRozan's had a 40-point game.
DeMar's stats went up, but I think it's because he got all Rudy Gay's leftover shots.
Correct. And he's getting work.
He's like, this Rudy Gay trade is great.
I'm liking this.
I love this trade. Bye, Rudy.
The best thing about the Rudy Gay trade in Toronto is that he didn't want him to bring a stat sheet in the locker room. Because he didn't want him to see how many shots he was taking.
He didn't want to see the 6 for 21. I do like the Toronto thing. And another thing that we should mention, the Knicks might sneak in the 8th seed, but
either the Knicks, Pistons, or Bobcats going to be the 8th seed. So they might not be in.
I think it's going to be the Bobcats because I think they're going to trade Ben Gordon's contract for something. But fork in the road moment for this season, not a huge moment, but the Knicks could have traded for Kyle Lowry on like December 10th, 11th, 12th. It would have been Raymond Felton, Shumpert, and their 2018 number 1. I think that was the trade.
You have to do that deal.
They didn't want to give up the pick.
You have to do that deal.
So if they get Lowry, now Toronto doesn't have a resurgence.
And in the same division.
Lowry is the best point guard in the East right now. Is that fair?
That is fair.
I'd rather have him than game to game than anyone else in the East, even John Wall.
I just told you who the best point guard in the West has been this year.
Right.
Goran Dragic.
Right. Raymond Felton is one of the worst point guards in the East this year. I mean, just if you're judging it by the first 3 months. They could have gone from the worst point guard in the East to the best point guard in the East. And they didn't do it over a pick that's 4 years from now. Now, the catch would be, well, all right, let's say they get Kyle Lowry. What's going to happen? Would they have really done any magic? Probably not.
Well, I like Kyle Lowry, who's almost a guard version of a Melo. And what I mean by that is they bully the guy that they're guarding. You see him hit you with his shoulder and do a step back, finish at the rim, knocks down threes, plays with a chip on his shoulder. That was a move they're going to regret not doing.
They could have gone crunch time. Kyle Lowry, Hardaway Jr., J.R. Smith, Melo, Chandler. Mildly interesting.
And we worked the draft this year.
Yeah.
There are a lot of teams that should be kicking themselves for how Trey Burke got passed up, how Tim Hardaway Jr. got passed up.
Pistons pass up Trey Burke, draft Caldwell Pope, trade Brandon Knight for Brandon Jennings and give him $24 million, and they could have just taken Trey Burke. We were going nuts.
That's what I'm saying.
We did the job interview with Trey Burke, and it was like, who were the 3 people that impressed us? Trey Burke,
Oladipo. That was our guy.
The third one?
We like
that Alex Len.
We like Alex Len in Phoenix.
Who hasn't looked that terrible for them.
Yeah.
All right, quickly, and then we're going to go. MVP through 3 Birdmesters.
Iceberg Slim, shooting trays from the suburbs.
You mean the Slim Reaper?
That name is terrible.
Everyone calls him the Slim Reaper. You lost.
No.
You lost.
My name is 2OG.
No. You can rationalize how you want. You lost. You're Slim Reaper.
Yeah, it's Kevin Durant.
Coach of the year.
Jeff Hornacek.
Interesting.
What his team is doing in the West is terrific. They're 30-20 to date.
Yeah.
Without Eric Bledsoe.
I think I agree with you. And I watched the game when they played the Clippers, and he just coached the pants off Doc Rivers.
I got to say this again. They're very well coached.
Do we have to apologize for thinking they were going to stink? I don't feel like I should apologize. Vegas had their over-under at 19 wins.
No, we shouldn't apologize. And this is the thing. I'm glad you brought that up. We're not fans. When your team is doing bad, it's not my job to talk about the championships you won 10 years ago.
Right.
It's my job to talk about the team I see today. Lakers trolls.
Yeah, we don't have
Celtic pride.
We don't have any biases except for an unwavering hatred of the Lakers. Other than that, there are no biases whatsoever. First team All-NBA. Durant and LeBron.
Durant and
Who
LeBron.
are your guards?
I'm going to give you another front court player.
Paul George.
Paul George.
He can't make it.
Why?
2 forwards.
He's listed as a guard. He listed guard forward.
Stop it.
He is. He's guard
So you're
forward.
going to cheat and put Paul George on your All-NBA?
You gotta have Paul, LeBron, and Durant. Those should be locks.
Paul George was a forward last year. He made it.
Those should be
He made it
locks.
as a forward.
Point guard,
No, 2 guard. You have 2 guard spots. Doesn't matter what position they play.
I'm going Chris Paul.
Chris Paul just missed a month.
I'm going Goran Dragic.
Goran Dragic is
Yes.
first team All-NBA?
You seen his numbers lately? He's balling. And that goes to your point about no biases. I know he's not better than Rajon Rondo. Well, Rajon Rondo is hurt. I know he's not better than Derrick Rose. Well, Derrick Rose is hurt. Like you said, I know he's not better than Chris Paul, but Chris Paul was hurt. I know he's not better than Tony Parker. Tony Parker's having limited minutes. He's been in and out of the lineup. Reward guys that are doing well.
I'm going to say Stephen Curry
Oh, yeah, Stephen Curry.
because
Stephen Curry.
his stats.
Dragic's second team.
His stats are I think you could talk me into Stephen Curry and Goran Dragic.
23 and
Chris
9.
Paul's gonna miss
Steph is 23 and 9 though.
with 5 rebounds.
Yeah, he's balling.
By the way, look up Steph Curry's stats this year versus Derrick Rose's MVP season. I think they're identical with more.
So here's our All
Who's your
NBA team.
center?
Can Bosh get there? Nobody ever talks about Chris Bosh. All I know was when I'm watching the game,
I was
LeBron
trying to think of
penetrate,
a ruling.
he kick it out for 3, Bosh is there. Bosh going on the left wing, Bosh on the right wing, finishing at the hoop.
Dwight Howard is the first team All-NBA center, isn't he?
Yeah.
If Hibbert was shooting better, I would shoehorn him in because I love the defensive impact he has is unbelievable.
So for the fans,
He's going to shoot 40% for 2 months.
and we got to clarify for the fans. We got Curry, Paul George, LeBron, KD, and Dwight.
And then second team, Goran Dragic, Chris
No
Paul,
doubt. Yup.
LaMarcus
Blake.
Aldridge and Blake. And then your center would be, I don't know. I'd have to look at it.
That's a tough one.
Al Jefferson?
We give
24 and 11 in January?
We give that Big Al third team. He can't be an 8th seed in the East.
Well,
and
we'll have to
second
look
team
at it.
All-NBA.
Some fun arguments, though, ahead of us. This is the end of the 3rd Birdmester. We're going to blow
We
out.
love you, Larry.
We don't expect any monster trades, right?
I think Phoenix makes a move.
Phoenix makes one.
I think the Clippers make a
minor
move. San Antonio is sniffing around for Evan Turner,
Ooh.
so that may happen. they need to jolt their lineup, I think. They need one more. Bellinelli's been very good.
Larry Sanders, maybe?
I think Milwaukee keeps him based on his productivity, and I know you look at his cap number and think he's overpaid, but he's actually a power forward in today's game. That's a manageable number for a guy that's going to produce the way he's able to.
Can the Celtics get Josh Smith for Jeff Green?
Yes. As a Detroit Piston fan, we would possibly do that.
O'Kill back in the house for Boston. Rondo and Josh Smith. See, if I'm Danny Ainge, I'm calling Joe Dumars, the embattled Joe Dumars, and I'm offering him Joe Wallace's contract and Keith Bogan's expiring. I'll be like, I'll take Josh Smith off your hands. And Joe's like, no, I can't. Well, all right, fine. Jeff Green. What do you think about Jeff Green?
Because Jeff Green is a better player facing the basket than Josh Smith. And if you're gonna
better for the Pistons.
If you're gonna have Monroe and you're gonna have Drummond, you need that.
Rondo and Josh Smith, the only two people in the NBA who like each other. They'd be matchmaking in heaven. So check that out. The fourth Birdmester will be in a month, and we'll know if some of these trades happened. And also,
you notice Andrew Bynum.
I'm going to look at a different camera. I'm going to look at this camera.
This is the Birdmester, right?
This is third Birdmester. And also, we are going to New Orleans. We are coaching the celebrity game. We are taping 2 days of podcasts. We have an awesome room. We're going to decorate with some of the stuff you see right here. And we're going to interview as many NBA All-Stars and legends as possible. And the one I'm most excited about, hopefully we can pull this off, Jalen Rose and Dikembe Mutombo and myself in the same studio.
That's a don't get fired.
I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. Oh, my God. We will check you out this week. BS Report.
Rose
Grantland
Report.
Channel, Rose Report. Celebrity Game. A lot going on. Come back. Check us out. Until then.